the LaxFactor podcast. What is up, college lacrosse fans? You're watching episode 208 of the LaxFactor podcast. I'm your host, Ted Hoost, and today, the best day of lacrosse, or the best weekend of lacrosse. We had 4 games yesterday. I'm recording this Sunday morning. We've got 4 more games today. Yesterday, I sat on my back porch from noon until the end of the Virginia game. I actually moved it into the house towards the end of the Virginia game because I started getting bit by mosquitoes. But we're going to talk about every game today. We're going to talk about BU at Princeton, Richmond at Penn, St. Joe's at Yale, and then Virginia at Brown. We're going to talk briefly about a bunch of Division III games that were played yesterday as well. And then Monday, probably Monday morning, tomorrow morning, I'll put out a second show recapping Sunday's games. I didn't want to wait until Monday to do all of them. I figured, let's put out 2 shows this weekend, and that way we can talk about some of the D3 games and the D2 games that are being played today. So before I get into it, as always, the best way you can support us, just like this video if you're watching it on YouTube. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed and you're seeing it on YouTube. It doesn't hurt you to do so. So please help us. We're almost to 10,000 subscribers. I'm hoping this weekend and into this week will be where we crest that. So help us out that way. And as always, you can go to LaxFactor.com, get yourself swag, t-shirts, hats, all that crap as well. But let's dive right into this here. I won't even really use the bracket here for this. But first game I want to talk about is BU at Princeton. Now, the first half for BU couldn't have gone worse, other than the fact they were only losing 6-2. I mean, they came out and they played terrible. Now, credit to the BU defense for keeping things reasonable during that first half, despite committing 12 turnovers. 10 of them were forced turnovers caused by the Princeton defense. That Princeton defense forced 15 turnovers on the day, a very impressive effort. Another incredible stat, the Terriers' top 3 scorers, and we're going to see that here. The Terriers' top 3 scorers scored 0 points. As my daughter would say when she was young, they scored none points. I had to double check that, and it was true. Dalto, Lay, and Perfetto scored exactly dick on the day, and that was really the undoing of Boston U. BU, they also got toasted at the faceoff dot. They lost 8 of the first 10 draws on the day. Princeton's Tyler Sandoval, he won 15 of 18 overall, so he dominated the faceoff X. That also doomed Boston U in this game. Slusher, he scored the first goal of the second half, a nice dodge underneath his guy at GLE, dive shot that he stuck high. Brown got the helper on that. That made it 7-2 Princeton and quieted BU's hopes a bit coming out of the second half. BU really needed, being down only 6-2 at halftime after as poorly as they played through that first half. If they had come out and stuck a goal or 2 to start that third quarter, then maybe that could have changed some of the momentum of this game. But that Slusher goal, that just ended everything. Now, credit to Erik Peters. He made 2 really nice saves to start out that second half. I stated in the preview on Friday that he needed to play tough today because he had struggled on his last couple of outings to end the season. He played really good in their 12-7 win, Princeton's 12-7 win over Boston U earlier in the season. I think he had like a 67% save percentage. And I said, as long as he played well and he was above 50%, Princeton would win. If he was above 60% between the tight pipes, that Princeton would win by a larger margin than they won the last game. And that proved to be true here in the end. He ends up stopping 15 of the 20 shots that he faced with a save percentage of 75. That is not too shabby here for Erik Peters, as you see here. And then Matt Garber, not a terrible day, but he loses the goalie battle. Like I said, Boston U turned the ball over a ton early, and they played a bunch of defense through that first half. They played solid defense through that first half, but the slow burn to victory for Princeton, that was kind of already in play here. Now, sure, Chris Brown, he had himself a day. He goes for 5 assists. Okay, no, I almost screwed that up. He went for 7 assists with no goals the last time Princeton played Brown. In this one, he has no goal, 5-dish performance. Slusher, Rhonda, and English, they each put up hat tricks, but Peters and Sandoval in the end here, they deserve to split the game ball. The lopsidedness of their stat lines compared to their opponents, it was beyond considerable. So credit to those two for really giving not only did Sandoval give Princeton a possession disparity, but Peters and Cage just did a good job of just keeping the door closed all day on Boston U's offense. And Boston U's offense, they put points up. I was surprised Princeton was, in fact, able to hold them to 5 goals. That defense played incredible all day long and just bottling them up, not giving them. I'm going to run a clip here. I believe I'm going to run it while I'm talking about this, but it looked effortless at times because the way they just kind of defended, it almost seemed like Boston U wasn't quite as aggressive in their dodging as they normally would be, but Princeton's defense did a great job of just not giving them an inch at all the different dodges all over the field. They did a great job, so credit to their defense. In this one, was I smart or dumb? My prediction here, it was genius. I said if Peters was above 60% between the pipes, Princeton would win by a margin beyond their last meeting. He goes for 75%, and it made me look really smart. I nailed this prediction here. We'll talk about who's up next for Princeton a little later in the show as I go through and talk about the other games. Let's rip through stats real fast. I just wanted to do that. Yeah, you see, not the usual suspects. Tommy Bork had a good game, 3 goals, but not the usual suspects for them down here. And then in terms of offensive, I said Chris Brown 0-5, Slusher was 3-1, Rhonda 3-0, Sam English 3-0. So the Big Cats got it done for Princeton. And then forced turnovers. Sam English forced 3 of those turnovers. Luke Crimmins forced 3. Pace Billings and Ben Finley, they each forced 2. So you see the defense getting the job done here for Princeton. Now let's move on to what was, I think, the best game of the day. It was the most exciting game for me anyway. Once again, I called the winner of this game properly. I got the margin wrong was all. But Richmond, they took an early 2-goal lead and put a bit of a scare in me to start. And then Penn, you can see here, Penn goes on that 5-goal run that made me feel smart again. Ben Smith put up 2 goals and a dish over that stretch for the Quakers. Richmond would score 6 of the game's next 8 goals after that, as you see their run from here down to here. And that gave them an 8-7 lead with 8:57 left to play in the game. A goal by Ryan Dunn, assisted by Lance Madonna. Now, Richmond still led by a goal with under a minute left to play here as we get down into this region of the game where it's like holy shit time for Penn. But a really nice aggressive feed by Sam Handley threaded the needle down to Ben Smith on the crease. I almost thought it was just going to be a turnover. Looked like it was a force, but they connected. That resulted in the game-tying goal with just 29 seconds left in regulation. And then an OT, Handley, he dodges from, my notes say top middle, but I don't think it was top middle. I think he came top middle down the left side. He throws a pass to Gabe Fury on the far side of the field, who then fed Smith on the crease, and Smith buried the OT winner, the sudden death OT winner, and chaos ensued for Penn. Sam Handley, he was a problem, 3 goals and a dish on the day. Just the big boy gets shit done. Let's get into the stats here, so as we talk about it, we can kind of see what he did. But yeah, you see here, Sam Handley, 3-1. You see Ben Smith, the freshman, getting shit done. The dude was a monster on the day, 5 goals and a helper, both with efficient games, though. You know, Handley shooting 33%, Smith above 50% here in this way. And then you had Dylan Gergar, 2-1, Gabe Fury here, 0-3. So they got it done all over the field. Big win for Patrick Birkinshaw in net for Penn, 15 saves versus the 25 shots that he faced. He won the goalie battle by a margin, and Penn needed every single one of those saves to win this game in overtime. Now, Richmond stayed in this game by shooting the ball well. Penn outshot them 39-35, but the Spiders put 25 shots on Cage to Penn's 22. That efficiency was huge in helping Richmond get back in this game, stay in this game right down to the end. But in the end, Birkinshaw, he made those extra saves against those extra shots that Penn put on him, and he gets the game ball if I'm deciding in this one. It ended up being a hell of a game. As we kind of look at the points here, Ryan Lanchberry 1-2. Dalton Young had a good game, scored a couple early. He's 3-0. Lance Madonna 1-2. Just not quite enough. The face-off dot was also a big story here. Jamie Zuzi, he wins 17 of 25 of the face-offs for Penn on the day. So, I mean, in a game where Penn, like Richmond, literally gave it their all. They lose the face-off battle. They lose the goalie battle. But despite that, Richmond was able to stay in this game, get it to overtime at least. And it was unfortunate that they lost. You know, that stinks here. Let's see here. What else do we got? Smart or dumb on this one? Smart. I picked the winner. I'm not a genius on this one because I expected Penn to win by 3 or more goals, is what I said. It took them OT to get this done. Credit to Richmond for playing an outstanding game and ruining my prediction here. And then there was one other thing. Oh, yeah, what I wanted to say, too, the biggest face-off win for Zuzi, who had 17. He went 17 to 25 for 9 GBs and no turnovers. The biggest win was that overtime face-off win. He wins it forward. Penn takes a timeout. They score a goal off that play. So credit to Zuzi in that. He had a great game as well. And like I said, I was smart, not quite genius, but smart. Now Penn will play the winner of the Harvard-Rutgers game being played at 5 Eastern today, which I will be tuning into like crazy. Next game. And this was another very good game. How fun was this game to watch? Well, I'd ask you, how good is Levi Anderson for St. Joe's? And now this is a guy I think a lot of people truly were sleeping on. You hear a lot of douchebags talk about, there's a lot of people on lacrosse Twitter that make the jokes about guys sleeping on guys to pick on the douchebags who are always saying someone's sleeping on guys that aren't really being slept on. Now, I will admit I was for sure sleeping on Levi Anderson. He scores the first goal of this game. It was just straight up. He bullied his way to the rack, turned around and wrapped it around left-handed. It just an incredible dodge to start this game for St. Joe's. St. Joe's held a 3-goal lead late into the first half here. Levi Anderson scored the 9th goal of the game as we come down to here. Here it was. Levi Anderson scores that 9th goal of the game. That gave his squad a 9-6 lead with 2:06 left in the half. And here I'm surprised. I thought St. Joe's would hang for the first. I thought Yale would slow burn this to a 7-8 goal victory or so by the end of this game. St. Joe's never gave up. Now, but then, and had a lead late in that first half. Now, Yale, they'd answer back. They'd scored 2 quick goals to end the half, to end the second quarter, getting back to within a goal before the half. The last goal of that half, Brad Sharp to Matt Brandau, a sneaky little feed and strike from the crease. The Bulldogs, they'd score the first 2 goals of the third, capping a 4-goal run, starting with the last 2 goals of that second quarter there. They'd take a 10-9 lead with 10:47 left in the third quarter. Brad Sharp to Chris Lyons on that one. Yale, they would build a 15-12 lead, but St. Joe's would refuse to go away. They got 3 back between the end of the third and mid-fourth to get things back up again, but it was Yale's 17th goal of the game. Matt Brandau, unassisted. That would prove to be the eventual game winner. And the Ivy, they start the tournament here at this point 3-0 with Princeton winning, Penn winning, and then Yale winning with the Elis picking up this win. Big win. The game was pretty even in terms of stats. St. Joe's, they topped Yale. Let's get into that so you can see it as I'm going through here. St. Joe's, they topped Yale with 32 shots on cage to Yale's 27, but Paquette, the rookie goalkeeper, he had a better day in cage, stopping 16 shots to Seeley's 9 shots for St. Joe's. The kid got the job done for Yale in net. St. Joe's failed 3 clears to Yale's 2, but Yale turned the ball over 3 more times, so that was kind of a wash. GB's dead even. Both teams failed to connect on any man-ups. There was only 3 man-ups in the entire game. Zach Cole roasted Yale at the faceoff dot, winning 22 of 37. A credit to him for even giving St. Joe's a chance, as without that effort, this is the route that I thought it was going to be. And I admittedly, I underestimated Cole's ability to just absolutely wreak havoc at the faceoff dot. Now, honestly, that stat line in hindsight isn't that bad for Yale, considering how many faceoffs there were, but still, credit to Cole for keeping St. Joe's in this game. But in the end, Leo Johnson, Matt Brandau, Chris Lyons, they're too much offensively, each putting up 6 points in the day. 4-2 for Johnson and Brandau. Lyons was 3-3. Paquette and the Yale defense, they did a great job in limiting St. Joe's offense despite that huge possession disparity that they had. And then the Yale offense, they did the rest. Now, in this one, was I smart or was I dumb? Again, I picked the winner properly, but I totally underestimated how badly Cole would dominate that faceoff dot. Now, St. Joe's, I also underestimated how scrappy they'd be. They never gave up. So I did pick the winner properly, but admittedly, I didn't expect St. Joe's to hang that tight that late into the game, especially with the way Yale had been playing. The fact that Yale had a much rougher stretch to get there, I figured they'd just be a little bit more battle-tested and ready to roll. But hey, man, that's why they play the game. And St. Joe's, credit to them, for making me look stupid in terms of my spread pick for this one. Now, Yale, they are going to face Princeton next weekend. The Elis beat the Tigers 14-12 in their regular season meeting early. I want to say it was sometime in March or so. So that'll be an interesting one to watch here. And I'll preview these on Thursday, and we'll talk about kind of how what that matchup looked like the last time. Now, My favorite, I take it back. The first half of this next game, Virginia Brown, this was my favorite half of all of the games all day long. This first half was incredible, insane tempo. Both teams woke up and chose violence, a ton of lead changes. It was insane. It was a great first half in this game, albeit Virginia used the third quarter to pull away and win this game. Connor Schellenberger, he scored the game's first 2 goals, giving UVA a quick 2-0 lead. The second was a nice dish from Xander Dixon, kind of brought the ball into the middle of the field, sees the defense shade up, hits Schellenberger as he's cresting GLE, and then Schellenberger, boom, he buries it, stuck it past the People's goalie. Now, Brown would take their first lead of the game 3-2, a great save by Theriault on the defensive end, nice outlet to get transition going, and then Ryan Behrens did the rest. And then immediately after they took their 3-2 lead, Petey fucking LaSala, he would get that goal right back on the ensuing faceoff. Brown violated on the faceoff. LaSala picks it up, booked it up the field. No one stepped up to stop him, and he just ripped rope, as Leif Elsmo would say, back to tied at threes. It would go back and forth like that. A hell of a game here. Just lead changes left and right. It was the lead was only a goal for either team through almost all of that first half, maybe through the whole first half. Brown took a 7-6 lead with 3:56 to play in the half, only to have UVA once again answer immediately. This time it was Peyton Cormier from Jeff Connor scoring to tie things up with 3:56 left to play in the second quarter. And then UVA would go on a quick run in the third. They scored 2 quick goals to end that third quarter. Matt Moore getting the second of that batch with 14 seconds left in the third. A dodge off a free possession due to a flag down as time was expiring in the quarter. That made the score 13-9. That gave the Cavs their largest lead of the game, and they'd roll from there. Now, a big stat line to look at here if we go into the individual stats, and you know what? I don't think they even have the goalie stats in here somehow. I don't know how that is, so you're not going to be able to see the goalie stats as I talk about it, but big stat line, the battle between the People's goalie, Connor Theriault, and then for Brown, and then the freshman ACC Rookie of the Year, Matthew Nunes, in net for UVA. It was widely accepted that Theriault needed to pull one of his magic games out of his ass. He was going to have to come up with a bunch of saves for Brown to be able to win this. He only stops 9 shots versus 17 goals against and got very little help from his defense in the second half. Nunes, on the other hand, stopped 16 of the 26 shots he faced, good for a save percentage of 62. Another disparity, face-offs. Petey LaSala, he wins 20 of 31 with 12 GBs, and he scored a goal. That is an aggressive stat line. That's why Petey LaSala is one of the most impactful players, period, in college lacrosse. Should have maybe even been considered as a Tewaarton candidate, in my opinion. The dude, just the effect he had on outcomes of games is just bonkers. Maybe going Tewaarton candidate is a little deep in terms of one of the 5 Tewaarton finalists, but man, just the impact he has on games is next level because he both wins faceoffs and he scores goals. He scraps. I love the kid. Schellenberger, after getting chirped for being named a Tewaarton finalist over Matt Brandau, which even I was like, man, Matt Brandau's numbers really did kind of put him in a place where I thought he should have been one of the finalists, and Schellenberger's had a down year in terms of point production, but he was banged up. He ends up going for 4 goals and 4 helpers off just 6 shots. Efficient isn't even the right word. I mean, like, damn efficient, motherfucking efficient, whatever you want to call it. That's a better way to describe it. Cormier, after making a few costly mistakes early in the game, he went on to score 5 goals off just 9 shots. What can we see that here? Let's see. Yep, there you go. Connor Schellenberger, 4-4, 8 points, 6 shots, only 1 turnover. Great game. Peyton Cormier, 5 goals off 9 shots, put 6 of those bad boys on cage. He did have 4 turnovers. Like I said, made a couple of mistakes early in the game, but then he got one back on a ride late. Matt Moore, 2-2, Xander Dixon, 2-1, Jeff Connor, 0-2. The usual suspects kind of filled it up for UVA. Now, how did I do on this one? And then UVA, they're going to face the winner of Vermont and Maryland. That game's going to be played shortly if you're watching this before that game starts. I already told you in Friday's preview what I thought was going to happen there. I won't beat a dead horse. But was I smart or dumb in this one? Once again, I picked the winner right. I called for a 3-goal spread, though, and I thought it would be close to the end. I didn't expect Theriault and the Brown defense to fold quite so early in this game. I figured they'd hold on late into the fourth or into the mid-fourth before UVA would kind of pull away by a few goals. The Brown collapse simply just came quicker than I thought it was going to. I knew that UVA was going to outlast them and eventually get to that win. I just didn't expect for it to become as the spread to become as aggressively dope as it was. And I was rooting for UVA. I wanted to see a good game, but I've become a fan of UVA, as much as that pains me to say, just because I like their style of play. I like Tiffany. I'm a LaSala fan. How can you not like what Schellenberger does on the field in terms of just how good he is? I like Cormier as a finisher. You know, I mean, if anyone offensively is built to hang with Maryland, UVA is. The problem is just that they're defensively, it's really hard to stop that onslaught, and defensively Maryland is that good. So I think that UVA's offense is as deep as Maryland's. It's just not the total team depth, the defensive depth isn't quite there for UVA. So, and that's who UVA has to play next, is going to end up being Maryland, I'm sure. So let's talk a little bit about now. Before I go into this, and for the people who just tune out after these games here, make sure I'm going to come back tomorrow morning here. I'm going to do the recap for the games that are being played today and some more D3. But let's get into a little bit of the D3 action here. A lot of blowouts here. The conference tournaments at the D3 level finished off much better than the first round of the NCAA tournament does for the D3 level. RIT smoked Albion here. You look at the scoring: Spencer Ball 4-1, Sam Bennett 0-3, Sean Trainer kind of spread it out here pretty deeply, so that was decent. But RIT gets the win there. Salisbury beat up on Stockton, but it wasn't as bad as I thought this one might be. But you look here: Cross Ferreira 5-2, Jack Dowd 1-5. So that's a hell of a job for Salisbury. Union, a team I've been watching here, upstate New York guys. So I'm always interested when rando teams in upstate New York do well. And Union's one of those teams right now that's kind of a team of destiny here. A lot of veterans running around for them. Peter Burns 3-1, Keaton McCann 3-0. They got the job done, and they beat John Carroll 14-7. And then this game was just an absolute nightmare. 33-10. Tufts absolutely demolished Norwich. Bergdahl, he goes 2-6. Boyden 3-3, but that's a pretty nice stat line right there. Then we start getting into some of the tighter games. Gettysburg 14-8 over Roanoke. This was supposed to be a good game. Ended up being a fairly solid game here, but Gettysburg picks up the win. Connor Hume 4-2 on the day, so that was big time. I should have gone through the goalies and the faceoffs here and these other ones, but then we see here Scott McMillan. He goes 12-8 on the day. He makes 12 saves against 8 goals against on the day. They get the win. What'd the faceoff dot look like in this one? Jonathan Moshe, he goes 13-23. So they kind of win the faceoff battle overall. Gettysburg wins that game. St. Lawrence and Cortland, they had an absolute dogfight here, and as we see here, 15-14 in favor of St. Lawrence. Chris Jordan 2-4. Joshua Huai, I don't know how to pronounce that. Huait, maybe 4-1. They end up winning this game here by a goal. William Helm, not a great day in cage here for the St. Lawrence goalie. Travis Wagner, 53% in the net to give Cortland a chance. I was surprised. I thought St. Lawrence might win this one by a bigger margin. What did they do earlier in the year? They beat him 14-8 earlier in the year. Did they play him in the tournament? Nope, they didn't. So, yeah, I thought that St. Lawrence would maybe win that one by a larger margin, but either way, they pull away with the win. Wesleyan beats RPI. RPI had a pretty solid season. Wesleyan takes it to them 19-14. Justin Hazard 4-2. Not a good day to be a goalie in this game here. I just accidentally clicked an ad. And that wasn't not much of a stat line there. This is really lame here, guys. I'm just trying to throw some fluff at you before I end this and start cutting this up. Lynchburg lost to Western New England 14-10. Nothing huge here. Matt Greer 2-3. Jared Newell 4-0. And then we got York and Denison. York beat Denison pretty handily 16-4. And Jack Grayson 2-5 in that one. So yeah, I didn't do a great job on that. I apologize. Hey, now we're off my screen here. So I'm going to end this. We're going to quit. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to cover Monday morning. We're going to cover all of the games that are being played today. Go a little bit. We'll just rip through some news. D3. Once the D3 gets into their quarterfinal and semifinal rounds, we'll cover those games more deeply, but I just wanted to rip through some scores and be able to say some guys' names out loud, give them some press and all that crap. So that's it. Come back tomorrow morning, Monday morning. We're going to do this again for the games all being played today. If you want to see my picks for these games being played today, you can go back to Friday's preview show. I previewed all 8 of these playoff games coming up here, so you can go back and check that out, to see how smart or dumb I was. But we'll keep playing that game, smart and dumb, as we keep going through, because I'm going to predict everything as we go through the rest of this. And that is it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Come back tomorrow morning to watch the next show. And that's it. Hoost is out.